Good afternoon or possibly early evening, wherever you all are. Let's head right on into Lesko Help 2. Okay. Here we are in Lesko Help 2, and it is just going to be me leading the class today. And as I think most of you are aware, we're really taking Megan's lead here. But I'd already messaged for the class when she let me know that she was trying, but she was still going to be driving through the mountains and she wasn't going to have reception today. So what we're going to do is just go over a few things really quickly to see if you guys have any questions about where I'm at in the process with Collectively Rewilding. And I forgot I need to look at something really quick and get it set up for you guys. And then I can share my screen again with you. Okay, here we go. And just make sure there's nothing hardcore on here that I need to worry about. No. Okay, now let me come back in and share my screen again. Okay, so here we are. This is my email account, obviously, and this is my filing approval from the state of Utah. I'm not registered. They accepted the filing of my name, your domestic nonprofit corporation articles of incorporation for Collectively Rewilding Foundation were filed on 9/10/2025, effective 9/05/2025. Entity number, work or item number, tracking number, and all of my documentation. So that's really exciting that we're moving forward. I'm ready for the next step. Let's just jump into our list, and we can go into our calendar for that really readily. And so we'll pop in there, and to see the step-by-step list that you have so far for your action plan for your nonprofit, you just jump into the event page or into the unit that we have in replays in the teaching sessions, and you'll see what the step-by-step list is. So we've already checked the name availability. We did that first, and we skipped making your content SEO friendly, and then we did step 3 and step 4, and then we did cover step 2, making your content SEO friendly. We just didn't do it in order, right? And then we realized that step 5 and step 6 need to be placed at the end of the list. Okay, so we just registered the nonprofit. That's what we just looked at the email approval for. And the next step is to get an EIN identification number. All right, and so we have a good little bit of time here left. Let's just go ahead and check that out. Okay, so let's actually go back. Do I have the link in here for you guys? Then we can just click it and go right in. Yes, okay. We did this state by state and we registered. So now we're going to click Get Your EIN, and it's going to pull up this new website at the irs.gov website, this new page, right? Use this tool to get an EIN directly from the IRS in minutes for free. Anybody that's telling you you have to pay money, they're trying to charge you to do it for you. You can do it yourself for free. I have not paid any money at this point. There is, I think, a $250 filing fee with your state once you have gone through registering with the IRS, but don't quote me on that, okay? Answer questions and then submit the application. If it's approved, we'll issue your EIN immediately online. Beware of websites that charge for an EIN. You never have to pay a fee for an EIN, what we just talked about, right? How it works: complete the application in one session. You can't save it for later, all right? It expires after 15 minutes of inactivity and you'll need to start over. Print your EIN confirmation letter for your records. Who can use this tool? Use if your principal place of business is in the U.S. or U.S. territories. It's in Utah, so that's good. You're the responsible party in control of the entity or its authorized representative. I'm the owner, so that's great. You have the responsible party's social security or individual taxpayer ID number, ITIN, and so I have my social security number. You can't use this if your principal place of business is outside the U.S. Apply by phone, fax, or mail. To apply with an EIN, only government entities may apply with an EIN. So I don't understand what that means. We don't have to worry about that. Almost any of us ever doing any of this kind of stuff here in Lesko Help 2 aren't going to worry about that concern. What you need: your business entity type, nonprofit, the Social Security number or taxpayer ID number of the responsible party in control of your business or organization. And if you're a third-party designee, you must have signed authorization to apply. Get your EIN straight from the IRS in minutes. Now, let me try to call Megan because I need to know before we try to do this if I need to know which 501 designation or multiple designations I want to use. So let's see if we can get a hold of the lady. It's not looking good, guys. She said she wasn't going to have reception. We'll have to Google it. It's not even trying to ring. All right. Well, confirmation that she wasn't feeding us a line, right? All right. Not that I ever thought she was. That's mostly a joke. So let's go ahead and we're going to jump into Google and we're going to ask, do you need to know the specific 501 designation you want for your nonprofit to apply for this and EIN? No, you do not need to know your specific 501 designation to apply for an employer identification number or EIN. Getting an EIN is a preliminary step in forming your organization, while obtaining a 501c designation is a separate process that happens later. Okay, excellent. So EIN versus tax exempt status. An EIN is a federal tax ID number that the IRS issues to identify your organization. You must have an EIN before you can apply for a tax exempt status designation. Even nonprofits with no employees must obtain an EIN to open a bank account, file taxes, or apply for grants. A 501c designation is your 501c designation, e.g. 501c3 for charities or 501c4 for social welfare organizations, is the specific tax exempt status you apply for with the IRS after you have your EIN. Okay, so let's jump back into our IRS webpage and hit apply for an EIN. All right, apply for an employer identification number or EIN. Use this assistance to apply for and obtain an employer identification number. Important information before you begin. Use this assistance to apply for and obtain an employee identification number. Do I need an EIN? Yes, I need an EIN. I can't file for my 501c status as it just pulled us in the Google breakdown until I have the EIN. Do I need a new EIN? Let's just check this one though, because I do already have an EIN for the for-profit portion of it. An EIN is a federal tax ID number for businesses, tax-exempt organizations, and other entities. You can get an EIN for free directly from the IRS in minutes. Multiple EINs or entities. A business entity should have only one EIN. If you, okay, so we'll go to Google for this one. It's not really giving me what I need here. If you have a for-profit EIN and you want to add a nonprofit entity connected to the for-profit, comma, I don't want to put a comma because it means something different, but it would normally be a comma, do the two entities both need EINs? Okay, yes, your nonprofit entity will need its own separate employer identification number or EIN from the IRS, even if it's connected to your for-profit business. Each distinct legal entity, whether for-profit or nonprofit, requires its own unique EIN for tax and legal purposes. Why you need a separate EIN. Legal distinction. The IRS treats for-profit and nonprofit organizations as separate legal entities. Tax purposes. Each entity has different tax obligations, and an EIN is essential for filing, like the Form 990 for nonprofits and other reporting. Operational independence. Even when affiliated, the nonprofit must maintain a degree of legal and financial independence from the for-profit. This requires separate incorporation documents, bank accounts, and financial records. Guess I got to get another bank account. How to structure your organizations. Separate entities. The most compliant way to have both a for-profit and a nonprofit entity is to establish them as two distinct, legally separated organizations. Obtain EINs. Once your nonprofit is formally incorporated with the state, which we just got the approval for in the last few days, you can apply for its EIN through the IRS website. Maintain separation. Ensure that the two entities operate separately with distinct financial records, bank accounts, and operations to maintain the nonprofit's tax-exempt status. Okay, so we'll jump back over here, and we got this answer, but we didn't get it, or we got this answer, but not necessarily from in IRS websites. You can do it through a PDF form SS-4, and you can probably like mail it in or something, right? You must complete it in one session. For security purposes, it'll time out after 15 minutes. You will receive your EIN immediately upon verification. If you wish to receive your confirmation letter online, we strongly recommend that you install Adobe Reader before beginning the application, and if it's not already installed. Restrictions. You can only do one a day. Third party, if they're doing it on behalf of the taxpayer must authorize a third party. The business location must be in the U.S. Foreign filers cannot use this tool. If you were incorporated outside of the U.S. or the U.S. territories, you can't do this exercise here. Okay, we do want to pull up this, and we'll read it later. When will I be able to use my EIN? Okay, but we don't need to know that before we begin the application, because we want to begin the application no matter how long it takes before we can actually use it. We want to already have that process going before we learn more about it, because we know we can apply for it, right? Okay, legal structure. All fields marked with an asterisk are required. What type of legal structure is applying for an EIN? If you don't see your organization type, click on View Additional Types, including nonprofit tax-exempt organizations to view more types. Additional help may be found by reviewing all types of organizations and structures. So it's already telling us that we have to view additional types, and that is going to be, or maybe other nonprofit, right? Because they don't have any nonprofits up here. Yeah. Other nonprofit tax-exempt organizations. Okay, we're going to click that. Confirm your selection of nonprofit/tax-exempt organization as the type of structure applying for an EIN. What is a nonprofit organization? Is an entity organized and operated for one or more of the purposes listed under Section 501A of the Internal Revenue Code. What is not? A business or organization organized for profit, a sole proprietorship, or partnership. If you need to change your type of structure, we recommend that you do so now. Otherwise, you will have to start over and re-enter your information. Additional help may be found by reviewing all types of organizations and structures before making your selection. Why is the nonprofit/tax-exempt organization requesting an EIN? If your main reason for applying is not on the list, please select the option you feel is closest to your main reason. If more than one reason applies to you, choose the best or main reason. Choose one reason that best describes why you are applying for an EIN. Started a new business, hired employee or employees, banking purposes, changed type of organization, purchased active business. So this is started a new business. I already have my for-profit, but this is a new business, a nonprofit with a new EIN number. So I'm starting a new business. Continue. Identity. Okay, so this is where I have to stop my share really quickly and just kind of walk you guys through it while I'm doing it, all right? And so I now put in my social security number. Okay. All right, actually, let me type it in without exposing the numbers, so we're good here. And so I typed in my social security number. Now I'm going to type my name, because they're asking for my social security number. This is middle name, last name. Oh my goodness, you can't even type your own name. No suffix. I am responsible and duly authorized member or officer having knowledge of this organization's affairs, or I am a third party applying for an EIN on behalf of this organization. I am a responsible and duly authorized member or officer having knowledge of this organization's affairs. So I check the first option, click continue. All right, and this is where I do have to stop that share. Okay. So I have an address already for Collectively Rewilding. I'm going to use the same address as what I have already for Collectively Rewilding. So this is something that we can watch together because it's a more public type of an address, not my private home. Okay, so and that's in Cedar City and in Utah. Okay, and that is going to be 84720 for the zip code. And then it's not allowing me to put like the unit, which is interesting. Phone number. And that is where, again, I do have to stop my share. Oh my goodness, this is so frustrating. Okay. Megan had wanted to film this before we came to class, but it didn't work out, so. And then it wants to know if, after my phone number, should the mail be directed to a specific person or department within our organization? This is commonly referred to as the care of name. If yes, please enter name. So I entered my name. Do you have an address different from the above where you want your mail to be sent? No. Continue. Tell us about the nonprofit tax-exempt organization. Okay, so we can share again. Okay, and that is going to be Collectively Rewilding, just like the nonprofit, but it's going to be foundation, right? Let's look at the information here. We also want to do, okay, so we are going to put in here CRF because we're going to go by the initials of the business. So I think that might be an acronym. County where nonprofit tax exempt organization is located. I'm pretty sure Cedar City is in Salt Lake County. What county is Cedar City, Utah in? Oh, Iron County. Okay, good to know, good to know. You should know these things. Okay, Iron County. States, Utah. And it said 9/5, so we're going to say in September of 2025. Does your business own a highway motor vehicle with a taxable? No. Does your business involve gambling, wagering? No. Does your business need to file Form 720 quarterly federal excise tax return? No. Does your business sell or manufacture alcohol, tobacco, or firearms? No. Do you have or do you expect to have any employees who will receive Forms W-2 in the next 12 months? No. And then continue. Not too hard, right? Additional details provided, business activity and services, all fields marked with an asterisk are required. What does your business or organization do? Choose one category that best describes your business. Accommodations, casino, hotel or motel, construction, finance, food service, healthcare, insurance, manufacturing, real estate, rental and leasing, retail, social assistance. Okay, so retail can be retail store, internet sales exclusively, direct sales, catalog, mail order, door-to-door, auction house, or selling goods on auction sites, social assistance use services, residential care facility, services for the disabled, or community food housing relief services. No, not transportation, not warehousing or wholesale. It is other. Okay, tell us more about your other activities. We're going to go with an organization such as religious, environmental, social, or civic, athletic, etc. Mine is both environmental, social, and could possibly get to become civic. So that'll work okay. And we're going to say environmental is the primary activity of the organization. Environmental education. I don't know. That's what I call it, right? They can think whatever they want. That's what I call it. Review and submit. Okay, I better stop the share just in case that has my phone number on here. That's really the only detail I can't just have out. You have two options for receiving your confirmation letter. Please choose one below. Receive letter digitally in the next step or receive letter by mail. I'm going to click digitally. Legal structure is a nonprofit tax-exempt organization. The legal name is Collectively Rewilding Foundation. Make sure I spelled that right. It's really easy to get that last E and L mixed up. And trade name, doing business as CRF, County Iron, State Utah. The date, September 25, 2025. It has the physical location, the phone number, my name again, my social security. Environmental is the business organization, what it does, principal product or service, environmental education, additional nonprofit tax exempt organization information. It was no, and the reason for applying is started a new business. Click submit EIN, and here I can share again because I've gone down low enough. Okay, so see no over for a vehicle, gambling, alcohol, federal excise, employees, and then reason for applying, started a new business. Click submit EIN request to send your request and receive your EIN. Once you submit, please wait while your application is being processed. It can take up to 2 minutes for your application to be processed. Submit, and again, I better stop my share just to make sure. I have no idea what they're going to be showing. Congratulations, your EIN has been successfully assigned. Save and or print this page and the confirmation letter below for your permanent records. And it gives me my EIN, says the legal name, and then I can download, and it's got all the additional information that we all went through together. And so we're going to download the EIN confirmation letter, and we're going to print the overall page, right? Okay, and I don't need all 5 sheets. We can just say 1 through 4. Okay. Kind of silly, but kind of messy. See if I can't print this better the way I would like to. Okay. All right, now let me print it like this as well, just because I don't like all the junk they added to the printing of it. And we can go back into LH2 and I can start sharing my screen again. All right, so that was as hard as it was, everyone. Simply filling out that many questions, those pretty basic answers, understanding that you need to already have things like your IRS, or excuse me, your address separate from your physical address. If you don't actually have like a business storefront, you need to watch the action plan for your nonprofit replay about securing a business address. All right, that was actually the second class that we did because we waited to do the content SEO friendly portion of the steps. Okay, so the second lesson, the second class that we did, the second replay for this specific class covers how to secure a business address if you have not already done that. And then you need to register your nonprofit after you have the physical address. Then you can go through the step that we just did to get the EIN from the IRS, right? All right, guys. Any questions about anything that we just covered there? You can unmute yourself or raise your hand. Yes, please. I don't know if I should use your real name. Capital Cash Flow Projects.
Hey, you can use my real name.
Okay, Candace. How can we help you, my dear?
So like, is there anything special you have to do to start a foundation versus just like a...
It has its own rules and requirements, right? So at some point, I'm going to have 2 other board members. It has to have a minimum of 3 board members and some other things like that. And we've covered a lot of that in these replays. And Megan is really better at all of those types of questions. But You have to have a purpose. You have to have like a mission, you know. Repeat your question for me again.
Like, is there any special requirements for starting a foundation versus like a corporation that's considered just
Just
not.
so the things like I mentioned, right? Having a 3-person board, you have to be careful. And Megan can talk to us about this. And this is something that she did to reassure me. You can be the like CEO or something like that within the nonprofit so that you can't like get voted off the board and be kicked out of your own nonprofit. And that was really important for me. And so there's some considerations like that. That's the part that I would say specifically really resonated where I had to worry about that. As far as the difference between for the nonprofit. So, okay, I can at a certain point when we have a certain number of sponsors and or donations coming in to run the nonprofit, I can pay myself a legitimate wage, maybe 3 to 4, probably about 3 to 4, maybe 5,000 a month, or at most a month, right? Because right now I'm making a little bit more than that. I would like to replace that before I would ever do anything completely differently. And so for the nonprofit, until you achieve really big numbers, you can't pay your employees of that nonprofit very high wages. Now, once you get bigger, some of those people have pretty big wages as a nonprofit entity, but it's all going to be kind of based on the size of the income that you're bringing in as the nonprofit, how much any individual can get paid. And so there's definitely some considerations. It's got a lot more rules and regulations about how you do things, what you do, your record keeping, you know, keeping that non-exempt status. There's more to it than having a for-profit business.
How loose can you apply the term church?
Relatively loosely, from my understanding. It's not a big study that I've made, but you can, it's pretty loose, right?
Because I was looking at while you was talking, I was looking um at the 501 code, and it kind then I brought up the 508 because most people know about the 508c1a for like the foundations, but then I was going through and it brought me to I was looking at church plans, and then it came down to one of them at 401. The IRS code is like 26 United States code, and then like that's where you get the 501c3, like it's 26 USC 501, and then C, and then 3, like, and then that's where you actually see it in the code, codified. So right now it took me to 26401 G, and it's talking about the government plan. So it was saying as far as what can be considered a church plan, because I have a plan for that. Like, but later on for that, but that's in the works. But anyway, I was looking up government
So,
plan.
like, I'm a registered minister, right? And so is my husband. I would guess that we could probably pretty easily go for a designation that was a spiritual or religious entity.
Well, I mean, like all of that can be applied loosely. Like even with collectively rewilding, the fact that you're, how do you say, reoccurring,
Mhm.
and you're spreading the gospel of
It is
what
my gospel, right, Nate? It is my gospel. So,
you know what I mean?
absolutely. There's some agricultural designations in the 501s. So there's about 3 or 4 of them that I'm interested in, and you can have more than one 501 designation.
In the same entity, or is it
From my understanding, again, this is Megan's area of expertise. I'm only trying to recall what I've learned from her as an intermediate into studying the idea of nonprofit and the practices of the nonprofit ideology.
Mhm. Because I was saying that like it keeps coming up that like you could create a plan for the employees, and then it always has the quotation marks or as beneficiary. And I'm like, well, why aren't you telling me how do you qualify the beneficiaries? I mean, you can always just write something in paper and just call somebody a beneficiary and they'll apply, right? Yeah.
You know what? These are really good questions for Megan, right? It's just, she has helped religious entities gain grants and grant-like funding, so she definitely has more knowledge than I do.
Okay.
So let's just ask Google, okay? What criteria is required to form a religious or spiritual nonprofit? To form a religious or spiritual nonprofit, you must meet both general nonprofit requirements and specific criteria for religious organizations as defined by the IRS. While the core process is similar to that of other charities, the IRS gives special status to churches which have additional exemptions, right?
Mhm.
You probably heard the debate. They're talking about starting to tax churches and not credit unions, right? It's a debate. Okay, so general nonprofit requirements, right? We've kind of just gone over that a little bit. And then specific criteria for religious organizations. The IRS distinguishes between formal churches and other religious organizations. While all religious nonprofits must meet the core 501c3 requirements, churches enjoy additional benefits. General religious organizations. These organizations, such as non-denominational ministries, which would be what I would have, mission societies, or religious study groups must apply for 501c3 status by filing Form 1023 or Form 1023-EZ for smaller groups with the IRS. Don't quote me on that, but I believe that's, oops, and then I'm going to have to, okay, let's just go back here and let's pull it up here. And what were we just looking at? Form 1023. Okay, what is this? Get in an ID. And why doesn't it tell us what the actual form is? So then let's go to a different Google. Okay, let me just pull one up here. And so this one says, okay, what is the form number designation when filing for a I'm guessing 1023. Yes. Okay. So you have to file what we just filed. Okay. And then the organization must demonstrate that its particular religious beliefs are truly and sincerely held. The legal activities, the organization's practices and rituals cannot be illegal or contrary to public policy. Annual filing. Unlike churches, these religious organizations generally must file an annual information return form with the IRS. So if you're not fully, I don't know if it's accredited or what, but like you're not a Catholic church or a Presbyterian or a Baptist or something, right? Like you're non-denominational, you have additional filing requirements. If you're a full church, including synagogues, mosques, and temples, the IRS does not provide a single definition of church, but uses a list of 14 characteristics to determine if an organization qualifies for special status. An organization does not need to satisfy all of them to be considered a church. Characteristics include distinct legal existence. The organization is formally established as a separate legal entity. Recognized creed and form of worship. Definite and distinct ecclesiastical government, a formal structure for leadership. Established place of worship, a physical location for regular services. Regular congregations and religious services. Organization of ordained ministers. Ordained ministers. That's key, right? I am a registered minister, but I did not go through an ordination. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, I can like Scott, I'll kind of like split off into a different research because like I was looking at the 401, section 401 was qualified pension. And like I was like, okay, like you have to start your own business and give yourself your own pension because a pension a qualified pension would be non-taxable income. So, and then when I was looking at that, that's when I found the church plan. And then one of the exceptions to the rules is the governmental plan. And I was like, interesting. So I was kind of doing my little mini rabbit hole while you was talking earlier.
Very good. All right, guys. Any more questions about what we've been talking about? All right. Let's take a peek at our calendar for the next upcoming classes. That is going to be today in about 38 minutes, and it will be Tammy subbing for Michelle. So Friday's Coffee and Grants with Tammy, and that will be at 4 o'clock p.m. Pacific, 5 o'clock p.m. Mountain, 6 o'clock p.m. Central, and 7 o'clock p.m. Eastern. And then I will be back with you on Tuesday, September 16th at 3 o'clock p.m. Pacific, 4 o'clock Mountain, 5 o'clock Central, and 6 o'clock Eastern. All right, guys. Candace, did you have a question we could answer real quick? I do need to get going. I've got to take my daughter to a concert tonight.
Yes, ma'am. How y'all doing? It's in the
Good,
chat. If you want to answer it in the chat, look at the chat. I put it in there.
Let's check it out. Can you use the for-profit EIN number and name to be the owner of the nonprofit? No, we went through that earlier in the class, Candace. They have to have separate EIN numbers.
Copy. Thank you.
Does that answer your question?
Yes.
All right. Excellent. Absolutely. iPhone Tina, please leave a question in the Ask Questions Here space. Just copy what you've got in the chat right there. Jump into Let's Go Help 2, Tina. Jump into the Ask Questions Here collection in the questions channel right here and just paste your question in there, and somebody will get that answered as soon as possible. All right, myself or one of the other staff or volunteers. Okay. All right, guys. Very good, very good. And I hope you all have a wonderful weekend. I will see you all on Tuesday. Please feel free. And I do have classes in my own community, Collectively Rewilding. It's free to join. Miss Tammy has a class on Sunday, as do I. Hers is going to be kind of a talking session. She covers a lot of things she's doing on her property. And I will be reading, it's our yarn yard for tall tales. And I read articles and books to you guys about growing food and growing rewilding areas, all these different types of fun things. So definitely come and check us out at Collectively Rewilding if you'd like. It is free to join forever. All right, everyone, please feel free.
Miss Sabrina?
Yes.
Miss Sabrina? Okay, this is Tina. I just wanted to know, you said that just paste the question in there and someone will answer.
That's right, Tina.
Okay. Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. And just look for the answer in your notification bell in Let's Go Help 2. Okay?
Okay, thank you.
You're absolutely welcome. All right, guys, please feel free to unmute and say good night. Hope to see you in Collectively Rewilding's classes and Let's Go Help 2's classes over the weekend.
Good night.
Okay, bye-bye.
Good night,
Bye,
everyone.
guys.
Thank
Thank
you.
you all. Enjoy your weekend, everyone.